What up? What up? What up?
Come
This
on,
is
man.
Talking Sports with Manny. I got my boy Shelor. We are excited. The Commanders destroyed the Carolina Panthers 40-7. Really, they shouldn't have had 7, but it just is what it is. Man, Shelor, man, how you doing, brother?
Man, I'm amazing. 5-2. Nobody saw it coming. Already got more wins this season than we had all of last season.
Hmm?
Playoffs near our city.
Playoffs?
First place in division. I mean, and the exciting piece about everything that's going on is we're putting the beat down on teams that we should put the beat down to.
That part.
And that was when I would say the most frustrating thing as a fan
Mm-hmm.
to go out there and know you playing against some scrubs and
Right.
then not to get the job done and like play with your food.
Right,
Like,
right.
nah, ain't no playing with the food nowadays. This if you ain't ready to come out here, we're gonna beat you until you can't take it no more.
Yes, sir. So, man, like my initial thoughts on the game was, I'm like, man, we're playing the Panthers, right? We should destroy this team. And usually you can't say, oh, the Panthers are a bad team because usually, no matter how we started, we're the bad teams. Last year, we started out 2-0. We was playing the Bears, remember, on Thursday Night Football,
Mm-hmm.
thinking, man, we've arrived. Can't have that mentality no matter what your record says. We go to that game, the Bears destroy us, and then it was a spiraling effect. So I know that this is a much better situation. We have a franchise QB, but it's like until you start to see things, you can't be too high. You can't say, "Oh, we're this." We're still figuring each other out. We got some injuries to Jonathan Allen, so that was a big thing. And then we had an injury to Jayden. But after what we see, when Mariota comes in and just leads the drive and just continue the same offense, they're running the ball. It's like, man, we're a good team. It went from, I don't know what we are. We're good-ish. We're looking good. It's just still 6 games. You can't get too excited because we as Washington fans have seen it all. But this year, it just looks totally different. The teams that we're supposed to be beating, we're beating the brakes off of them. That's an encouraging thing. It's like, okay, if you say you're a good team, your DNA should say, hey, we're coached this way. I'm going to turn over to you. But before I do, Marcus Mariota brought up a good point. He said after Jayden went down, he wasn't afraid to go down because he's going to run the entire playbook. He's going to run the offense how Jayden would. And he says, if I would have went down, guess what? Jeff Driscoll's coming in. And he's going to run the same offense and run all the plays. And he said, being a QB that gets to run is it keeps him engaged in the offense. It's fun for him instead of just handing off the ball, throwing. He says he felt like he was part of the offense, and the offense was in a flow. What are your thoughts on Marcus Mariota's performance?
First of all, I think when you're looking at establishing a quarterback room and you're looking at actually setting up a system, what you see is a similar skill set for every one of the quarterbacks. In the past, we would always have mismatch personnel. So it wasn't that next man up. What you would see is a whole different style that needs to be played based off the quarterback. What I love about what they did was QB1 is mobile and athletic. QB2 is mobile and athletic. QB3 is mobile and athletic. So therefore, you have the same system that you're able to navigate. It's similar to what you saw with the Ravens when they had Hundley backing up. And then when they didn't have Hundley, they had McSorley backing up. So you're going to run your same scheme, and you're not going to lose your identity based upon who's at quarterback. Similarly, I think you're going to see that same type of deal with other positions because you're going to have those things be able to navigate. So those skill sets are going to be things that are consistent. So when you're watching that, that's how you have factories. The Ravens, for example, they can lose a Patrick Queen, and then they got a young linebacker right at behind them in Simpson that comes in and basically is doing the same thing. That's how you build winning programs and winning organizations.
Right.
So I love to see that as a blueprint right now. So definitely agree with this comments, but the performance was phenomenal.
Right.
A little shaky up front, getting the rust off, but once he got comfortable and he got dialed in, all those different pieces. You saw the skill set that made him a number 2 overall pick as well. And it's almost like, wow, how important is it? And I'll throw this back to you, Manny. How important is it for you to actually have people to be able to go for these young quarterbacks to go into winning
Right.
systems
Mm-hmm.
that are in alignment with their skill set. How would you say about that? What is that your thoughts are there?
Sorry, answer that question one more time because
Yeah.
Jay Butter came in and I was like
What's up?
commenting and
No worries. So yeah, so question is,
Mhm.
as you're kind of seeing this whole setup, right? And we're seeing, hey, we've got Jayden in, he's in a right system for him.
Yep.
How important do you think it is for a young quarterback to walk into a system that's in alignment with his skill set?
Oh man, it's tremendous. Like without the system, and not just the system. Yeah, the system is the OC. So the OC, the system, the organization, they all play hand in hand. And you see guys like Zach Wilson, whether he's bad or not. I mean, it's not every day you get a Jayden Daniels in the draft, but you
Mhm,
see it even with guys like Bryce Young.
mhm,
I don't think he's as bad as what they're making him to be.
mhm,
It was the thing where he's in a terrible organization. They've changed OCs already. They're going to change it again because guess what? This team is not going to win anything. And then everybody gets fired. So it's a spiraling effect. We saw the same thing with Baker Mayfield, you know,
mhm,
where he was there, it was working out, then it wasn't working out. And then he goes somewhere else, it was not working out. And then now, boom, he's in Tampa, is working out, is a perfect system. And as matter of fact, it's the guy who just went to the Carolina Panthers, the guy that kind of got Baker Mayfield going. But it's like it's all about that system. Sam Darnold
mhm,
looks great in a system. Brock Purdy looks great in that system.
mhm,
Purdy's a talented QB. I don't know if he'll go somewhere else and have that same kind of success. It's about the people that are around you. And the encouraging thing with Jayden Daniels is he's doing this with limited weapons.
mhm,
Zach Ertz, he's old, solid,
mhm,
but old. He's limited to what he can do.
mhm,
Austin Eckler, solid, but older. You know what I'm saying? He's not a breakaway guy. He's not a Brees Hall or a Ezekiel Elliott in his prime or a Jonathan Taylor. He's not one of those kinds of guys. But guess what? He's solid. Veteran
mhm,
presence. He's been there. Then you look at the receiver. Terry is becoming what we all knew Terry could be.
mhm.
Then outside of Terry, what do you have? If Terry goes down, what do you have? But I am so confident that Jayden can make something happen with Zacchaeus, Luke McCaffrey. We've seen it. He's elevating everybody's game. He's special, but yes, to your point, the system is real important to the success that a QB can have.
Mhm.
Jay Butter says we need another receiver. So looking at the landscape of the league right now and who's available, who could be available, what can we potentially do at wide receiver? Deontay Johnson?
I think at this point we're in a very unique situation. Because I think what you want to do is you want to make sure you bring in the right fit. And I think personality and culture and all those types of things play a big part in terms of who comes in. Because a lot of times our receivers, they're not getting the big piece of chicken. Terry's the only one getting the big piece of chicken. Everybody else is a role player.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that works. And I don't know that we solved that in this off season.
Right.
But I think what happens is when we get to not in the regular season, right? But in the off season, I think that's where you address it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you probably address it in the draft. As you're kind of walking through that, there's always a whole bunch of talent at receiver coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to see us get that big X receiver to
Right.
go along with Terry. And that would be ideal because I think in this offense, especially what Jayden's doing with the deep ball,
Right.
I think that's a big thing that just has that size, advantage.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things we've been lacking for a long time.
Right.
And if you add that as a component to the offense, I think it shuts it all the way down.
Yep.
So bigger receivers coming in would be ideal. And then also just development. So
Right.
like I think Luke McCaffrey's shown some different pieces. So
Mm-hmm.
I think this year it's super important to really maximize what we have in house and
Right.
kind of see what we're working with. It makes a big difference. I see the question here, rating Noah and Diami. I think Diami is definitely a deep threat receiver.
Mm-hmm.
He has that deep threat ability. You can see it when he gets out there, but I want to see him develop more of a route tree.
Yep.
So I think that's really what you're working with there. Whereas Noah Brown, for example, I think he has the route tree, but he doesn't have the vertical speed.
Mm-hmm.
So he's one of those guys that you can use underneath. He's somebody that you can use on that reliable third down receiver that's going to catch that ball, going to catch that dig route, going to catch that post route for you, going to take the contact and do those things.
Right.
So it's like, I think you have good skill sets there, but the reality is they're still not quite everything that you're looking for, but still important within their role. Zacchaeus, for example,
Right.
he's a zig route king.
Mm-hmm.
He hits you with a zig. He can put you in a mix,
Yep.
get open,
Yep.
and then he'll disappear for a couple games.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I think a lot of times it's based off of the personnel. I've been seeing stuff where we've been having 3 tight ends on the field.
Mm-hmm.
So you got Ben Sinnott out there, you got Bates out there, you got Ertz out there, and then they're out wide as receivers, and then they motion them in. So it's like really crazy.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. So great question. Thanks for asking that.
Yep. So let's get into this game. So we're watching the game, and the first big play is Dante Fowler intercepting the ball, right?
Yes.
He puts a move on Andy Dalton.
Shimmy.
He hit him with a shimmy, jumped over him, and he's gone. But the biggest play or the biggest thing about that particular play was Deron Payne taking off with his big shelf, taking off down that sideline and gets in front of the guy because the guy could have caught Fowler. And it seems like Deron Payne is faster than Fowler. But tell me, what was your thought process through that moment to start the game? Bang.
So I was in the car and I was listening. And what was crazy was I was on the NFL app, but they had it in Spanish. And if you ever want to hear a touchdown call, hear it in Spanish because they going wild with it, right? So I'm like, what's going on? It's like touchdown. I was like, oh man, what's going on? And then when I got to watch the play, what I saw, exactly to your point, when I saw Big Payne out there running, what I said was, you know what, we got a team now.
Right.
I talk to my teams at work and everything like this. It talks about culture plus strategy equals domination.
Yep.
And right now, what DQ's done is he's installed this culture piece. We now have the ownership piece. We now got the GM in place. You now have the coach. You now have the quarterback.
Right.
You got those things in alignment. It opens up everything else.
Right.
So there's so many times where you will see players quit on a play, or if they're not making a play, they're not navigating it. So when you see Big Payne out there running,
right,
that lets you know everything you need to know about the team. And I think you see that in post-game comments. You talk about the brotherhood. You talk about the bond. Like, that's a real thing that happens.
Right.
And I think that is the number one indicator within that big play. Did you see anything different, or how do you see it, man?
No, I mean, you said it perfectly. I mean, you can see guys, it's like a culture. It's like everybody plays hard. So even if we're bringing in a wide receiver, I would love a guy that you can say, man, this is a bona fide number 2, like a guy like a Romeo Dobbs. I don't think he's traded. Like somebody like that, like a hard worker who doesn't mind not getting the ball. Because it's like even the play where Eckler takes off a few games ago, he takes off, he fumbles. Zacchaeus was trailing, sprinting. And those are the kind of things that you need. Yes, I would love a Devontae Adams type of guy, but Devontae Adams would not have been the right guy for this system and what they're building, because sometimes Terry's not going to get the ball. We've seen Terry not get the ball first 2 games. He didn't cry. He didn't complain. He wasn't sad. He was just like, you know what? Whatever it takes for this team to win. And that's how Terry's been. You know, he's never said, oh, I was out there running suicides. He's never said that. You know, he's never said, oh, man, you know what? The game plan was to make me a decoy. He just goes out there and he's a constant professional. So we need another guy. I don't mind if the guy's like nasty, because it's cool to kind of mix it up. But the culture they're building is crazy. Now, we get into the next biggest play, or like the next major moment in the game. Jayden takes off on the first play, and he's gone. 40-something yards. We talked about it yesterday. This was about to be the Jayden games of all Jayden games. I mean, this guy would have had over 150 yards rushing. He would have had multiple touchdown passes. I mean, this might have been the game that Noah Brown catch a touchdown, Zacchaeus catch a touchdown, Luke McCaffrey. It felt like this was going to be the game that kind of get these other guys involved that hasn't really done much, or haven't really gotten the success in the passing game. We saw Ertz get one. We saw Sidney get one, but I felt like the receivers would have got more love. So He runs, he gets tackled, he tries to finish out that drive. He's grabbing his, and you know me, I hate it when Jayden runs. Whether it's designed, whether it's not designed, as a fan, I just remember RG3. And I know that Jayden has a smaller frame. It's not like he slides. And people are gunning for him. They're gunning for him. It's when you make yourself a runner, you're going to get hit. So when he gets hit and he's on the ground, what is your thought process?
So I think it's a couple of things. Injuries are one thing, right? My I don't have an issue with the read option or the outside run. What I have an issue with is when we're close in red zone, unless you have something spread out where you can actually have a similar type read option type piece where you can get to the outside and he has some options. Those are the times that I want to see that happen. I don't want to see it up close where we're trying to kind of do QB powers. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like he's not. It's like you got a big back in B-Rob. Why not just give that off to B-Rob in that scenario?
Right.
I just don't like the play call because it's almost like it's not a winning play call. I still want him to use his legs because that is amazing as a skill set. We've seen that work. But I don't want to see him take those mashing hits. And I want him to be smart enough as well to always be kind of, okay, how do I navigate this?
Exactly.
Where can I slide? Where can I get out of bounds? You know what I'm saying? But I think what he saw in that game, I think he was super crunk for the game as well. And he knew he was about to have that moment. He was trying to have his RG3 versus the Vikings moment. And he thought he was going to have it in that play. And they were kind of with him a little bit because of how he set up. I think that's it, You know
what's so funny? During that play, he had so many opportunities to just say, you know what, let me just go ahead and just.
He was going to mash that.
Bruh, it's like the way he ran, and he got out of bounds. It might have been a 25-yarder instead of a 40-something yarder. And sometimes you just got to do that. Because when you cut it back inside, now I'm expecting you to score at this point. And it's like, if you don't score and you get caught, it's not going to end well. So he needs to know when to go down. Somebody said, hey, I don't care how he goes down. Just go down. And it's a scary thing because that's our franchise QB. And, once that happens, and then what's good, awesomeness? Appreciate you hopping on the stream. So when that happens and they're saying, the ribs, and I'm like, me, man, I was pissed off. Jay called me. I'm pissed off. I don't want to hear nothing because already I'm just mad that he runs and then he has the potential to get hurt. We worked so hard to find this franchise QB. Shout out to Sam Howell. Sam Howell is the reason why we have Jayden Daniels. He came in, he stuck it up. He played with confidence, but he stunk it up towards the end. And because of Sam Howell, we now have Jayden Daniels. So
shout out Eric Bieniemy.
Hey, shout out EB.
EB.
So Mariota now comes into the game. He looks awful. I was on Twitter. I said everything but a cuss word. I was so pissed because he started off slow. He was inaccurate. But you have to realize he wasn't planning on playing. And he hasn't gotten the reps with the number one. So I had to calm down. I had to breathe. And I had to say, you know what? Let's see where this goes. So he starts to heat up. And I was talking to Tommy. Tommy's a big Titans fan. He grew up a Mariota fan, so he knows Mariota more than this dude had Mariota socks. So he knows Marcus Mariota. He told me, he says, Marcus Mariota is typically a quarterback that starts out slow, and he's a rhythm guy. But when he gets going, and I think because they mixed in the running option, now he has a threat to run, even though he's not as fast as Jayden, he's not as dynamic as Jayden, but he can still move a little bit. And once he started to kind of get out the pocket, and he threw, I think they said he was 7 for 9 for throws that were 15 plus. 7 for 9. It doesn't get any better than that. Talk to me about Mariota and this performance that he had in this game. Because I was fired up after a while.
Yeah, well, I think the big part for him is you saw the rhythm, everything flowing. And I think it's a major piece when you start looking at just the different dynamics. You look at the similarities, you look at the skill set. Like him coming out, he was set up as an accurate quarterback. There's not this whole concept of being inaccurate.
Right.
So he was accurate. Then he got to move around. Then you can tell that he's been in the playbook. So the idea of, hey, him going through the process, him being new here, he's been on the IR, he really took the time to really understand. You can see that veteran presence that he has, and it really shows the mentorship that he already kind of has for Jayden. So when he gets on the field, now it's just a matter of going out and execute. So he got comfortable. He got in that rhythm. He started seeing what's going on. And then now you got a whole thing where what I love is there wasn't a down spiral for the team. Like
Right.
everybody came in, they rallied around him, they made the good routes, they made everything rolling, they made some tough catches. Terry made an amazing catch coming back on him on a third down.
Yeah.
He made a nice run where he kind of eluded a little bit. And it was just a lot of different things. So everything that I saw from Mariota, I was super impressed by him. And I think that the question that came up, can Mariota beat the Bears?
Mm-hmm.
Well, hopefully, and this is my thing, and I've had a rib injury in the past.
Yeah.
I was sharing this with Manny offline. I think he's okay.
Yeah.
I've had a cracked rib before, and it's almost like it's hard to breathe. You're not doing a whole bunch of smiling. You're really going through the motions. So it was kind of consistent with what it is that we got today as a report. And the report basically was, hey, he's week to week. They're going to monitor him and kind of make sure everything's good. I think that's coach speak.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to bet, I'm thinking he's out there versus the Bears, honestly, because of how everything was laid out in the second half. The other piece that I think is super important, I want to kind of hand this, I'm going to pass it back over to you. One of the things that came out, I think I was watching at McAfee or one of the shows, and they were talking about how Adam Peters is giving the parents of players updates on what's going on with injuries. And we see Jayden's mom coming through with the medical report. He's good. And then you see him out in the second half, and it was like, okay, he could have came back out if it was a good game, if it wasn't already 27 donut at halftime, right? And then you see all smiles, you see him engaged with the game, you see him with the team and everything else. So if I had to bet, I definitely believe for sure that he's going to play against the Bears. And boy, do we want to see that. We want to see him go ahead up with Caleb. And just really kind of deal with all our Bears fans out there, all the Bears haters.
Yep.
It's really crazy because it's not one of those things where Caleb's a great quarterback.
Right.
Jayden's a great quarterback.
Exactly. Enjoy them.
We're not hating on them. We're enjoying them.
Exactly.
You know, so it's like it's always some type of Jayden slander. So I would definitely look forward to seeing that, you know.
Hey, speaking of Jayden slander, so the the Bears fans are trash. And this is why. The Pepsi Rookie of the Week is a fan thing.
Yes.
It's cool, the fan thing. Caleb had the better game. He had the better game. He destroyed Jags. Jayden didn't have as good of a game, right? But Jayden wins Rookie of the Week because the Washington fans, and even me, I voted 10 times. This is one Bears fan that I can't stand. So because he was talking all this trash, and I love Caleb. I'm a big fan. I hope he does great things in the league, except of when he plays us. So, you know, I go back and I look at the results later, and they said Jayden Daniels wins the Pepsi Rookie of the Week. I was rolling when Caleb had 4 TDs, had better stats. So that means for the Bears fans that were pissed off and mad, don't be mad. You just go in there and vote. I voted 10 times for Jayden, knowing that he didn't deserve it this week. But just to make these guys mad, and I felt that my 10 votes helped. It helped. And you know, like the Commanders fans were so excited right now. Jayden should not be on the ballot because he was hurt. But if he's on the ballot, I'm telling you, he's going to win again. That's just how excited Commanders fans are, man. We have like the best fan base. When we're pissed off, we're pissed off. When we're happy, we're happy. But one thing I can say about the fan base is that we are very, very passionate. Now, it's not much to talk about this game, but outside of Dante Fowler, who else would you say had a good defensive game? Or who else would you say that you was proud to see? Because
come on, you ready?
Yeah, I already know.
Forbes.
I already know Jay just could not wait to say Forbes. He could not wait to say Forbes, man.
Mr. Barbecue Chicken was not out there on the grill. In fact, he made a huge play, got an interception. And I mean, this is the thing. So this is what he was advertised as a ball hawking cornerback.
Mm-hmm.
So to see him come out there and actually do that and execute on that was awesome.
Right.
The big thing with me with him is very plain. He needs to be in the right situation,
Right.
and he's not strong enough. He does not need to be in press man coverage
Mm-hmm.
with anybody at the NFL level until he gets his weight and everything up.
So you'll
But to
see
see him go
zone.
out there and actually make that play was huge.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it does a whole lot for his confidence. I think it does a lot for the team, especially coming off of being inactive
Yep.
and then actually come out here and actually get an opportunity, get in the playbook and really make a play. That's what he was here for, you
Yep.
know?
And I would also love to see Forbes in special teams, maybe as a backup to a punt returner or a backup to a kickoff returner, just to kind of get his confidence up because it seems like he enjoyed catching the ball and being able to gain 20 yards. That wasn't a small thing. Matter of fact, he ran the route better than Deontay Johnson. I don't know what the connection was between Deontay Johnson and Andy Dalton, but he ran that route better. And, got the interception, took off for 20 yards. But the most important thing, if you notice at the end of that play, he knew how to fall down. He laid it down at the Lord's feet and says, Lord, I'm here.
That's
I
it.
surrender. And you got to know when to hold him and when to fold him. He knew to get down because one more hit, he might have been out several weeks. So when you're smaller, Jayden should take a play from Forbes because Forbes he just fell down. Yeah. He did not want no contact, and that's one thing that I did like. You can tell that they're coaching up the team. They're training up these guys. It's the little things that I look at. These are the little things that make teams good to great teams. It's off of the like the techniques, the little things that you're doing, your attitude, how you prepare for the game, like playbook, understanding defenses, understanding offenses. So I'm really liking what we are doing, and you can tell this is a well-coached team. From the top to the bottom, to the coordinators, to the position coaches. We have one of the best coaching staffs in the league. I will put our coaching staff against any coaching staff in the league. So they did something great putting this thing together. And you can see after the game, Mariota and Cliff exchange. You can see, I've seen games where the RB coach is talking to the RBs and they're, so you can kind of see the culture that's being built. Not just that. The Commanders are 3-0 at home. They're 3-0 at home. They've gotten 2 games on the road. This is a really good team. Now, outside of Forbes, so we've talked about defense, Fowler, Forbes, and we had a few guys who made plays here and there. On offense, who did you see have a good game that's not usually talked about?
So I think what Ben Sinnott provides for us is really next level. He is that Kyle Juszczyk type option for us offensively. You can see him out here being able to continue to grow as a pass catcher. He has the speed, but he brings the lumber when it's time to block.
Right.
And seeing him get his first touchdown was awesome because he's been putting the work in. Right. There's times where I've seen him be wide open. He didn't get the ball, but guess what? He comes out, he's playing hard. The other piece with him is just kind of watching just his evolution of understanding the playbook. There's been a couple times in games where it's almost like when there's no huddle, he's not really quite sure where to line up at or what exactly to do. So this game, it looks like he was more in command and he had a really good understanding as to where he was supposed to be and how he's supposed to be in alignment. So really excited for his future. As we kind of talked about that Zach Ertz piece. Zach Ertz is on a 1-year deal. He's here. And he's been a great addition to the team. But, Ben Sinnott needs to have that pen and paper out. He needs to be watching everything that Zach Ertz is doing. Because, think about how much impact he can have. All those catches that we see Ertz making and he has to fall down because he's a little older. Like, literally, if you got somebody that can catch and then take off and run, man, you have more explosiveness available in your offense. And I think Ben Sinnott is going to be the key to that. Could possibly go from being a Kyle Juszczyk type guy to being our George Kittle. So looking forward to kind of seeing how that works out for him.
So I'm going to go through some numbers, but before then, let's go through some of these fan reactions, man. Twitter's been going crazy. It says loses Jayden Daniels. Commanders fans, sad. Panthers, whew. Mariota's coming in. And we're safe. Commanders, and then the beatdown.
Yeah. Look at that stomp. Yo,
I love it, man.
who was
It's
that?
just, oh my gosh, like it's just been so much. Like there was a time when the Commanders was like trending today, and I was on there like reading a lot of the stuff. So update: we're gonna be wearing the all black uniforms versus the Bears. That game is gonna be prime time, the game of the week. Oh man, on Fox, that's gonna be a great day. I don't know what I'm gonna cook up or grill up or order. I might order some
Come
pizza.
on, man.
Get that ready. Man, I can't wait. So it's gonna be the All Blacks. Like I said, I used to hate these uniforms, but I'm starting to like them, man. And when you're winning, everything looks cool. Everything looks cool. This guy right here says another Commanders victory cigar after a heck
That's
of a
what I'm
win.
talking about.
Since the
You
team
better had a blowtorch out there.
he said the team
That's
stepped
what
up.
I'm talking about.
They put it down. Proud of my boys. Keep this thing rolling. Is there anything that you like to do for yourself when the Commanders win? You have any
I don't have any rituals, but when we score a touchdown, everybody in the house, everybody knows it. The baby knows it. The boys running around. You know, they sing a touchdown. They know what time it is. So that's always the big thing. It's just so good to be in a situation where you can tell everything's going in the right direction.
Right.
And I remember just Dan Snyder leaving was like the greatest day ever.
Yes. Yes.
And you knew it was going to get better from there. And I don't think anyone expected it to be this soon. But what you see is the foundational pieces are crazy.
Facts.
So, what about you, man? You got any rituals?
What I do is every Victory Monday, I'm rocking some Commanders gear because we've been a franchise that has struggled, right? I have all this Commander stuff or Redskin stuff, and I don't wear it because you can't wear it. Like when you're losing isn't fun. Losing is bad for business. But when you're winning, guess what? This is work attire. I'm still in the office. This is how I roll in. I roll in with some Commanders gear, hat and all. If I'm in a meeting, I might take the hat off, do what I got to do. But look, everybody who knows me knows when they see this burgundy and gold on a Monday or rarely on a Tuesday or sometimes on a Friday, it's either Victory Monday, it's either something of that, or Victory Tuesday or Victory Friday. Something of that sort is taking place, and I'm always gonna rock it because when things are good, you gotta continue to enjoy it. Jay Butter writes, I take a piece of clothing off every time we score. So by the end of the day, darn near naked. Oh no. See, this is TMI. This is TMI, man. For those who don't know Jay Butter is the wildest, most craziest Commanders fan I've ever met in my life.
Oh man,
he is wild. So here's some news that popped up today. The Commanders reached out to free agent Marquez Valdes-Scantling before he decided to sign with the Saints. He opted to go to the Saints and not the Commanders. But you know what? That's a blessing in disguise. Marquez Valdes-Scantling to me is terrible. He's terrible. His hands isn't great. Why go after Marquez Valdes-Scantling when you have a whole bunch of those on the team? Now, different skill set. He's not the piece that I would have needed. How do you feel about him not coming here? What is your thought?
I'm perfectly fine with him not coming here. Because the biggest thing that you want to have is you want to have consistency. As a receiver, your number one job is to catch the ball. And the most frustrating thing for him in Green Bay, in Kansas City, is all of the drops. But we talk about the profile, 6'4", fast. Those are good things. However, if you can't catch the ball, bruh, I don't want you anywhere near my team. I don't want you anywhere near the quarterback. I don't want you in the zip code. I'm happy when you're on another team. And then here's the real point. Poor judgment. You have poor judgment when you're going to go to the Saints or you can go to a 5-2 Commanders team.
Exactly.
Now, it could have been money related, but I think also the fact that there's a clear path for him to actually get on the field. Because the reality is for them, now that they've lost Shaheed, it might actually make sense for him to actually get out there and just try to get on the field. And I think Olave is banged up as well. But even still, like that guy, when I tell you Mr. Butterfingers, his reputation is Mr. Butterfingers. Like you got all highlight reels dedicated to him dropping passes. So I'm perfectly fine with him not coming here. I'm good with keeping our guys as is. Now, you talked about trading for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I think Deontay Johnson fits the mold of somebody you want to trade for sure.
Yep.
I think the other guy that really would fit, and I'm not sure that the 49ers will move him now that Ayuk is actually hurt,
Mm-hmm.
is a Debo Samuel.
Mm.
He is tough as nails. If you put him on the other side of Terry,
It's Super
it's a
Bowl.
different level of electricity.
I don't care. It's Super
He
Bowl.
fits the culture as
Yep.
far as being that physical person.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything that we're doing offensively, if you add that kind of weapon into the element on
Yep.
your jet sweeps and things
Yep.
of that nature,
It's
you can
over.
just his ball carrying ability.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's coming from that same San Francisco culture.
Yep.
So I would love
Mm-hmm.
him.
Yep.
And I think he's equally, he reminds me a lot of Terry as far as the different
Mm-hmm.
traits and
Yep.
everything in terms of
Yep.
who he is and
Agreed.
what's on his mind. So
Agreed.
like he will be like the ideal piece that I think really takes us to a different level.
Mm-hmm.
Then everybody else kind of fall in alignment.
Right.
At that point, it's him or Terry is getting the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we play upper level ball, playoff football, you
Right.
want to have somebody else outside of Terry that you can really rely on to make plays.
Mm-hmm.
So Debo will be the guy for me.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. So here's some reports. Well, we have touched on Jayden's injury earlier, but so he left the game on Sunday. His mom comes in and says he's doing fine. It's not considered serious. He had some treatment and some X-rays this morning. Nothing was broken. Nothing fractured. But there's some pain there. So his status is up in the air. I do think that he plays, but even if he doesn't play, I'm confident that we can go out there, run our system, and we have to realize that even though Caleb Williams is good, even though our defense hasn't really been what it should be, I think we can get some pressure on Caleb. And if we can get some pressure on Caleb, we'll be fine. Yes, I love the receivers that the Bears have. I love the offense. I love the running. I mean, they are loaded offensively. So I'm not saying that this is at the end of the day, Caleb is still a rookie. He could still make mistakes. When you have a Marcus Mariota, if we run our offense, now I'm not gonna lie, whether Jayden plays or Marcus plays, what's his name? Montez Sweat is gonna be coming for blood. He's gonna be coming for blood. The Bears, I believe the Bears have a good defense. Some people tell me the Bears defense is not as good as I think it is, but I think they got some talent there.
Mm-hmm.
So whether he plays or not, it's gonna be a tough game. I'm glad that it's a home game. We have a chance to really come out and go 6-2, and it's within the realm of possibilities. If our defense can hold up somewhat, and we run the ball, and if we're able to run the ball, control the clock, and the greatest thing about the Commanders this year is that we don't turn over the ball.
Mm-hmm.
That breeds recipe for winning. Time of possession is always going to be sky high. When you're running the ball, you're protecting the defense. Defense comes in rested. You're mixing out all these defensive linemen. Sometimes I don't even know who's pass rushing. Who? I don't know. I'm like, oh, we had Fowler? I forgot about Fowler first 4 games. Oh, Armstrong, oh, yeah, we still have that guy. They just have guys coming in and out. Cleveland Farrell, he was leading us in sacks to start the year. So it's like it's somebody different every time. It was Farrell at first, then it was Armstrong. Now it's what's his name? Can't even think of his name. Fowler. So
yeah, Fowler now.
When we were signing these guys, like just a bunch of Jags, a bunch of guys. They knew what they were looking for.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna continue to add. So some of these guys are gonna be depth pieces. Some of these guys are gonna be backups as we start to draft and add premium talents through the free agency and draft. We're not going to fix everything in one offseason, but whether it's like back to what I was saying, whether it's Mariota or whether it's Jayden, I think we have a great chance to run an efficient offense, come out there, score, and control the clock. What is your thoughts on Jayden playing, not playing? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think at the end of the day, the Jayden piece is a different level of dynamic ability.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a different confidence and things of that nature when he's out there. So it's like having your guy is having your guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Panthers game was great to kind of have everybody come out and come together. But let's just keep it a bean. They were going to beat the hell out of the Panthers regardless of what.
Yep.
It was already preordained. It was predestined. It didn't matter. You or me could have went out there and played quarterback because they didn't have it. And that's the reality, right?
Right.
But now when you're playing against Chicago, you're having that potential back and forth because I think that's the thing. Like when you look at the weaponry, because where we
Right.
say, hey, Jayden doesn't have the weaponry, well, Caleb does have the weapon. He does have 2 Pro Bowl receivers. He does have an emerging young receiver.
Yep.
He does have an elite tight end. He does have a running back that's actually been to a Pro
Agree.
Bowl. So he has all of those different pieces and components. And I
Mhm.
think what's happened with the Bears, they've turned the corner in terms of what they're doing offensively,
Right.
and they're making it so that he's actually playing in structure.
Right.
So I think this is one of the things that Cliff Kingsbury was talking about that people didn't realize about Caleb. So what
Right.
he said was that he's phenomenal when he's able to play in structure.
Mm-hmm.
And what they've done is they've simplified things for him. They made it more friendly for him. They've allowed him to make reads.
Right.
And guess what? If you can make reads and you got elite talent,
Mm-hmm.
that's a recipe for success.
Right.
So I personally will feel way more comfortable with Jayden playing.
Mm-hmm.
If he plays, then we can go back and forth. But
Right.
I don't think this is going to be this defensive game. I
Mm-hmm.
think at this point, if they're both out there, I think you see an explosive shootout type game.
Yep.
Whereas I don't necessarily trust Mariota to go back and forth.
Right. I agree.
So I think to win this game, especially because the Bears defense has some guys out there, they got some dudes.
They got
You
some
got your
guys.
Tremaine Edmonds, you got some
They
dudes out
stacked.
there. You got Sweat,
They stacked.
you got safeties, you got that Brisker, he's a hard hitter. You got
Yep.
Jalen Johnson, who's one of the best corners in the league. They have some players out there.
Got some guys, man.
So for me, I want to see our number one quarterback out there.
Right. Right.
And I think if we got Mariota, maybe we stay tough with him, but I'm not sure that we pull that game out. So it's a
Right.
big difference for me in terms of having Jayden versus not.
Right.
But at the end of the day, him being healthy and coming out of the season healthy is more important financially or franchise wise than
Right.
anything else. So if
Right.
he's not ready, sit him.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's ready, let's put that flag jacket on him, let's send him on out there,
Sure.
and let's use wisdom and have him pick his spots when he's running.
Yep. I agree. I agree. So shout out to Dustin. He's named us the greatest show on grass.
Come on now.
It says the Commanders are one of only 2 offenses in the last 24 years to score at least 60% of their offensive drives through 7 weeks. The other team, the 2000 Rams. Remember earlier when we were talking about
Mm-hmm.
that Redskins 1999 Redskins team?
Mm-hmm.
The Rams
Mm-hmm.
were the team in place of, if there was no Rams team, the Redskins win the Super Bowl that year, which would have been 2000. That's like the next year. They would have won. I mean, I'm that confident. That team was stacked, but for the fact that this was the brewing of something special with Kurt Warner and Marshall Faulk, so they had way more dynamic offense than the Redskins in '99. But that team
Yeah.
is something. So to be compared to that team is high praise because that team continue to score. Like that was one of the because I started watching football in '99. So for me, I've never seen anything like that Rams offense. I'm like, wow, I'm really enjoying this game. I mean, this is so this offense is only going to continue to get better and better and better. I'm gonna continue with these fans interactions but Al Galdi, he has a podcast, a pretty good podcast. He goes, a true organizational win. The Commanders had Jayden Daniels for 1 drive, lost Brandon Coleman to concussion. That is our starting left tackle right there, promising left tackle, and yet still smashed Carolina. Adam Peters and Cole, in less than 10 months, have built an offensive monster. This is what having great football operations look like. And it's only going to get better. And that's why I'm so excited about this Bears game, because the Bears do have a good defense. So let's see what this offense looks like versus really good defenses. Before, I used to be afraid, I don't want to play this team because they have this guy and that guy. No, I want to play the best. If we want to be the best right now, we are currently the number 2 team in the NFC. This is minus the games that are coming Monday night in a few minutes or hours. We are the number 2 team in the NFC, and it's a big thing to play 7 games and get 5 wins, 10 wins realistically gets you into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
You've gotten 5 in 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
God forbid some things happen. Let's just say Jayden misses some games and you start to lose some and whatever. Because you've gotten 5 wins as fast as humanly possible for Commanders, we should be 6-1. We should have beat the Ravens, but that's a whole story for a whole another day. To have 5 wins right now is beautiful. I've always tried to chase 10 wins as fast as possible. And in the past, as a Commanders fan, I'll say, man, let's get to 7, 8 wins and try to do some magic at the end, because that's just kind of who we were. We were always struggling. Matter of fact, I've only seen 10 wins for this franchise since 99, maybe twice. In 99, that's one, and they might not have gotten 10 wins again. I don't think they've gotten 10 wins again. Maybe a Todd Collins year, maybe one of them years with Sean Taylor, but I honestly cannot remember 10 wins outside of 99. I'll look that up later before the end of the show. It's crazy. We get 10 wins, I'm crying live. I'm crying live on CNN. What's wrong with this fan? I'm sorry, man. I just didn't
Tears of joy.
Like, it's beautiful what's happening. And it's like, what a time. What a time to be a fan. Like, things that are happening is just it's amazing, man. From Ben Sinnott to the awesome draft class to building a culture. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Look at the fans.
Yeah.
Just look at the fans, man. Just living, enjoying, happy. Look at these smiles. Like, this is what it's about. This is fun. This is fun. I know it's 7 games, but man, it just gets better and better and better and better, man. Like,
so check this out. So only 2 last 20 seasons.
Nice.
Only 2 10-win teams.
What are the years?
So doesn't give me the years here, but I'm just gonna count back. So this year. Let's see. Well, last 20. So this is. Let's see. Okay, I got them. So this is 2005 and 2012. Only 2 10-win seasons last 20 years.
2012 was RG3, and 2005 must have been probably Mark Brunell. It's got to be. It's got to be. We've suffered.
Finished second in the NFC. 6th seed, they fell to the Seahawks in the divisional game.
Who was the QB that year?
Brunell. That's Brunell, Portis, and Moss.
Yeah, Brunell, Santana Moss, that whole Miami.
And Portis. Portis had 1,500 yards rushing that year.
Yep.
Moss had 1,483.
Yep.
So yeah, so that's some good stats there.
Yep. 2005, I was a sophomore in college. I remember that year when we were playing the Cowboys, and I think we came back within a few minutes. Mark Brunell threw 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns to Santana Moss to win that game 14-13. Those are memories that I'll never forget, And it's crazy that we had to go back to 2005 and 2012.
Look, last 30 years, 3 10-win teams, and the other one was the 99 team.
Yep. I'm telling you, that 99 is special to my heart, man. 99, 05, 2012. And there's not much more I can be excited about. There was a year we made the playoffs with Todd Collins as the QB. We ran the tables at the end. I think Sean Taylor was there. But we haven't had a lot of success as a franchise. And it's amazing that people have been fans for years and years and years of agony and pain and all kinds of stuff, man. But shout out to Darryl Green. This game was for Darryl Green. He was the legend. And they had the tribute for him. They have immortalized his number. Nobody will ever wear number 28 ever again. Shout out to Darryl Green. Great corner for the Commanders. So I saw somewhere where Alfred Morris and Chris Thompson was talking, and the alumni, what the Commanders have done is they are honoring these guys as legends. It doesn't mean legend like Monk or legend like, Theismann, some of the greats. No, legend as in, this guy played here. He was loyal to us. He played well for a block of time, and this guy's a legend. That's kind of how I look at it. When you have these guys that want to come back, honor them. Someone might say, oh, Alfred Morris wasn't a legend. Yes, he was.
Mm-hmm.
All you got to look at is that rookie season. He had 3 years that were legendary. That rookie season, he went bananas. It was like 1,600 yards rushing and up to 14, 15 touchdowns. Something crazy. Mm-hmm. Yes, legendary. Because how many Commanders backs have achieved 1,600 yards in the season?
Not many.
You see what I'm saying? And then you look at Chris Thompson. Oh my gosh, Chris Thompson, the legend. That guy. There was a year that they put the offense on his back. Mm-hmm. Spinal. Yes, he carried that offense. He was that dynamic weapon when they didn't have weapons. Chris Thompson meant a lot to Redskins fans, Commanders fans. So I have no issues with honoring these guys and saying these guys are legends because they have, for a point in time, played well. So shout out to all the alums that continue to come back and continue to support this team. There are people that have supported this team over and over and over again. It's just not when we're good. There's, Santana Moss and Cole, Pulse, and there's so many guys that have been just been around it. So yeah, man. Any final thoughts?
Just the excitement, just continuing to kind of navigate that. And I think that's the big thing. We got our group chats, we got different pieces. And I think, sometimes seeing is believing. But I think a lot of times it's a matter of just being present in the moment.
Yep.
Like when you see your team start to kind of rev stuff up, you see the culture change, you see the dynamic pieces and those things. Right. So I just want to encourage all our fans out there, enjoy the ride. This is something special that's getting built. This is something dynamic that's getting built. We're on the way. We're not arrived yet. Just enjoy the journey. Don't be sitting out there waiting on the sky to fall or anything weird like that. Just enjoy it because it's one of those things where we got a fan base that's been through a lot.
Right.
This is our moment to turn the page. This is the moment to kind of get back to glory and get back to dominate the way we used to. I remember I was at the parade in 91, 92. We won the Super Bowl with Mark Rippon and the boys out there. I was out there. You know what I'm saying? So, now we're creating the infrastructure. We can kind of see those things coming back. So, really excited for that. Looking forward to go ahead out and beating the Bears this coming week. Going to 6-2 and just making some noise. But really excited about that. That's all I got.
All right. So I'm going to leave y'all with this. Commanders are 5-2 and have scored 30-plus points in 4 of their last 5 games. They've scored at least 20 in every game so far. Man, tears of joy. I just be crying tears of joy, man. Like sometimes when your offense is good, you don't care about defense, man. Who cares about defense? We done had defense so many years, man. Defense ain't done nothing for us, man. Defense don't win games. Defense win championships, blah, blah, blah. Man, we need offense too. Okay? And offense has been winning games. Yes, it'll be nice to have a good defense, to have a better defense. I get it. But man, just to say we can score with anybody. So the Commanders are also number 1 in points per game. Number 1 in points per game. They're number 3 in rushing yards per game. They should be much higher, but things have happened. Injuries have happened to B-Rob and also Jayden to knock those numbers down. But it's all good. We're also 4th in total yards per game. We moved the ball. We have a legendary offense that have scored on 60% of its offensive drives. We score. And shout out to Seibert. Seibert is a real deal McCoy. If you play fantasy football and you're playing in a league that still requires kickers, go get you some Austin Seibert, man. All that guy does is knock down field goals. So huge shout out to Cliff Kingsbury and the offensive staff. I think if Cliff Kingsbury and Jayden Daniels stick together, I was talking to one of my guys yesterday, you can potentially see a Super Bowl between these two. I don't know how long Cliff Kingsbury stays, but if Cliff Kingsbury and Jayden Daniels stick together and keep building, you're going to see a Super Bowl, and it could be soon because what they're doing is legendary. I'm not just saying this because I'm a Commanders fan. What they're doing is legendary, and the numbers don't lie. You're seeing them move the ball. Every time they move the ball, there has not been an offense yet, a defense yet that's been able to stop this. I know it's just 7 games, I know, We're going to see what they look like over a 17-game season. We're going to see what they look like in the playoffs if we are fortunate enough to make it. But what they're doing is legendary. What they're doing is special. They're breaking records every single day. So this is the show. This is our time. Talking Commanders with Manny and Shelor. Appreciate you guys hopping on the stream. For those of you guys that are going to be rewatching this, let me know in the comment section, what was your favorite part of this game? What do you guys expect for the next game? What are your predictions? All that good stuff. Interact, please. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the TikTok and the Twitter and the IG, because I'm going to start dropping more Commander stuff, more than my normal sports stuff, because guess what? It's good for business. Business is good. We're in a winning business. If we're in a winning business, there's going to be tons of people hopping on to see what's going on. Shelor, where can the people find you?
On X, 3D Sheeler. Check your boy out. Lots of content coming through. Fantasy football as well as Commanders content. Just if you're having a bad day, holler at your boy. I promise you, I'm not.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all. We'll catch y'all on that next episode. Peace.